Understanding how to connect different elements in a design is a big part of becoming a jewelry designer. There are hot connections and cold connections. Hi, I'm Patti. I'm a jewelry designer here at Fire Mountain Gems and Beads. And today we're going to be talking about these different types of connections.
Get our email newsletter for beading news, sale announcements, new product announcements, and more. Link is in the description below.
Hot connections are when you use heat with a torch or a kiln to join different elements. They're a wonderful way to work, but they're not the only way to create jewelry. Not everyone wants to or is comfortable with using a torch or a kiln. Cold connections are simpler. They require less equipment and need for safety precautions. They're great for beginners or for those who want to make great jewelry, but just keep it simple. Torch. Using a torch for jewelry making, your basic toolkit will be a torch, like this Max Flame torch, a firing block, and always some safety goggles. You can use a torch to solder, which is a very secure connection. Like with this piece here, this beautiful earring. It's got a wire hoop that I've created here and hammered, and I've soldered the connection, so that's never going to come apart. Kiln. When you work with a kiln in jewelry, you'll have a piece of equipment that is about 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet is kind of an average jewelry kiln, so it's not that big. It'll fit on your tabletop. It does get extremely hot, so you have to have a well-ventilated area, and you have to use a lot of safety precautions. There is special equipment that go with that, so it's a little more involved than using a torch. And when you use a kiln, you do have to pickle your piece, so it's a longer process. You have to remove that fire scale from that intense heat. Here's a ring that one of our designers, Rose, made a while back. Isn't that gorgeous? She made this with metal clay in the kiln, and so it's a complete circle that's been fired, and it's very secure. It will never come apart. So those are the two basic types of hot connections. They're wonderful for jewelry making, and I really suggest you give them a try. Cold connections. Jump rings. Jump rings are so easy to use. All you need is a couple of pairs of pliers like these chain nose and these bend chain nose, or one pair of pliers and this handy little jump ring tool. I just love this. They're not quite as secure as some connections because they can open up when you're using an open jump ring that you can make a connection with. But they're very pretty. You can see in this piece, we've connected the focal to the ear wire with 2 jump rings. Crimping. Crimping is when you're stringing on stringing material like this AccuFlex. There are numerous different types of stringing material you can do this with. In this piece, you can see that we beaded some stringing material and then crimped it to a focal. In crimping, you're going to use AccuGuards, or you can use French wire as well, but this is my favorite way to work. Crimp tubes and crimp covers. The tools that you need to crimp are a crimping plier like this one and a flush cutter. Crimping is a great way to do beadwork, and it's got a really nice medium security level. Glue. Glue is a common connection in jewelry design. You can use epoxy, like this DevCon 5-minute epoxy, or the 2-ton epoxy that you have to mix and give you a really nice strong connection. Or you can use glue that doesn't need to be mixed, like this E6000 or this Future Gel. When using glue, you don't really need a lot of tools. You need a mixing surface. One of my favorite things is a sticky notepad like that. Something to mix with, like some toothpicks. And have on hand some cotton swabs and some alcohol to clean up any little mistakes. In this piece, I have glued on this bezel component as well as the labradorite focal. Glue is a medium secure connection. It can come apart, but if you do it well, it can last a long time. Simple loops. Simple loops are an easy and very common cold connection to make. When you're making a simple loop, you can use eye pins like these, head pins like these, or some wire. If you're using a head pin, you can make a drop. If you're using an eye pin or some wire, you can make a link like we did in this piece. Here's a necklace, very simple, with simple loops at both ends attaching the chain. Simple loops are a little less secure than some of the other methods, but it definitely makes up for it in the ease of use. To make simple loops, you only need a few tools. Really, just a pair of cutters. A good flush cutter is what I recommend. A pair of round nose pliers and a pair of flat nose like these chain nose pliers. Wire wrap. With the wire wrap cold connection, you can make a simple loop, something as simple as this, or you can get fancy and wrap elements together like this. To wire wrap, you can use wire. We've got different types of wire here. There are many types that you can use, or you can make a drop with a head pin like this. To wire wrap, you need a basic toolkit, and that would consist of a good flush cutter like this one, a pair of round nose pliers, a couple of pairs of chain nose pliers like these, flat chain nose and bent chain nose, and I always suggest having a nylon jaw plier like this one to straighten your wire. Wire wrap is a very secure method of cold connection. Rivets and eyelets. Rivets and eyelets can be used to join a variety of flat material like metal or plastic or paper or leather. So in order to rivet, all you need is a riveting hammer like this one and a rivet setter like you see here. You'll need some rivets like you see here. They come in different widths and lengths, or an eyelet. As you can see here, the eyelet is just a rivet with a hole in the middle. As you can see here in this piece, our designer has used rivets to join these two pieces of flat metal together. The rivet's gone through one side and hammered closed on the other side. Rivets are a wonderful high security way to cold connect your jewelry. Now that we've covered hot and cold connections, I hope that expands your jewelry making knowledge and sparks new creativity in your designs. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and sign up for our email newsletter. The link is in the description box below. And if you make something with a new type of connection, be sure to tag us. We would love to see what you're up to. We'll see you next time.